Hi guys, Jimmy Fluke here for Apex Racing Academy. This is our Daytona track guide for the Ferrari 499P for the iRacing Daytona 24. This track guide covers all of the GTP cars, but we're going to focus specifically in this one on the Ferrari. We're providing free data packs for the entire GTP class for this first special event, and hopefully you'll be able to get something positive out of it. So without further ado, let's get stuck in. Okay, so into the lap here, and turn one is our first starting point. We're going all the way out to the wall here and using the last dashed white line here as our guide and reference for getting onto the brakes. Let's roll it through nice and slowly. So pretty much up to peak pressure, and then hold the car as wide as you dare on entry, certainly going beyond the white line and then bleeding off down into third and then eventually second gear as we roll through. Basically trying to feed the car in such a way where we come past the concrete here and turn in before we actually sort of get to it, and then aiming to apex over by the pit wall here on the left hand side with our left side wheels onto the white line where possible. So gently feed the car in. I've actually grabbed a little bit of the grass here, so I was just a little bit more circumspect in terms of picking up the throttle, but that allows me to maintain a fairly tight exit. We don't want to use the outside curb here because it's super bumpy as we come through turn two here. But on exit, to make sure that we get the power down up into third gear, and then through the little kinks here, right and left, and then hard over to the left-hand side to set up the international horseshoe. So as we get far over to the left-hand side, certainly well past the dashed lines for pit lane exit, so we're well beyond that. There's nothing visual here on the left hand side that works nicely other than maybe some of this grass texture to help us get onto the brakes. So again, peak pressure just all the way up to 100%, down into second and then first gear, and making sure that we're really disciplined in terms of our trail off here. So, you know, a sharp descent on the brake pressure, and then gentle on the trail brake. I just understeered a little bit on entry here, so I didn't get all the way back towards the white line, but you want to get pretty close to it. Inside curb can sort of impact the drive off the corner, so we'll try and avoid actually clipping the inside curb. Rotate the car, and then a short shift into second as well if you need it, just to make sure that we don't slide too much on corner exit. But on the way out, all the way out towards the outside curb, you don't need to actually lean into it, but getting pretty close to it is pretty good here. Up through the gears, fourth and then fifth gear, through the kink here. Not much to report, but just making sure that we stay as far over to the left-hand side as we can to open up the western horseshoe. So braking halfway along sort of this access road on the left-hand side here is going to be the target here. Braking initially in a hard straight line, so maximum pressure once again, and then basically as soon as you get down into fourth gear, that's when we want to start bleeding off the brake pressure. Again, smooth on the way down the brake pressure, and then all the way down into first gear, picking up the inside white line nice and early here. We want to keep it pretty tight through here, with a fairly shallow entry because the track opens up quite nicely for us on the way through. Again, a fairly short shift into second gear, at which point then you can completely commit to full throttle and still sort of holding that inside white line until the curb ends, so we can open up the steering and then utilize all of the curb on exit. Across we come now towards turns 6 and 7, the run back onto the banking. So again, once we get about halfway or so along this sort of access road or road off to the right here, maybe just a fraction before that actually, we want to get hard onto the brakes once again. Not all the way to 100% pressure, maybe about 80% or so. Initially braking in a straight line and then down into second gear. Plenty of inside curb, in fact a little bit of the grass as well, and then picking up the throttle as we come through. So gently does it initially. It's quite bumpy on the way through, but we can quite quickly, with the downforce that these cars have available to them, we can get to full throttle really early and then arc the car all the way towards the outside curb. The power and downforce of these cars mean that we can run wider lines on exit here than your traditional sort of GT3 or something a little bit slower than that. So all the way out to that outside curb, up in the third gear, just mind the bump here, and then all the way out to the outside wall, up into fourth, and then we've got the long run towards the bus stop chicane that has been renamed the Le Mans chicane. So up into sixth, you could grab seventh as well, and in fact I think I do on this lap. Yes I do. And then spot the one board here on the right hand side, and this is where we have to just fully commit on the way in here. So braking, turning and downshifting all in sort of one fluid motion, so that means that we're not actually hitting the brakes that hard on the way through here, and then trying to get as close to our track limits as possible here on the left hand side. This is what sets up the entire rest of the sequence. Peak pressure here, as I mentioned, not super high. We're not taking tons of speed off here. The downshifting and the steering is going to do a lot of the work actually for us here. So starting into fifth, taking as much off the inside as we can. More than half the car cannot go into the grass. That is our track limit, but you can get your left side wheels to sort of clip through it. As we come through the first left, a little bit more brake applied through the right so that we can then be really aggressive with our throttle pickup and maximize the exit available to us. Again, in terms of the track limit, get as close as you can to the track limit there, so a little clip of the grass on the way through, and then from here, smash the throttle, and ideally, you have enough room as you come through the second right that the final curve then isn't so much of a problem. So up and down we go, and then on exit, just making sure that we avoid the off track on the way through. From here, it's pretty straightforward. We'll keep the car nice and tight to the inside and run that all the way to the line, and that's a lap of Daytona in the Ferrari 499 GTP. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this content and the setups associated with it for the iRacing Daytona 24, we do this every week with over 50 data packs provided by Apex Racing Academy. So that includes our formula cars, our sports cars, and our dirt road content as well. All you have to do is go over to apexracingac.com. The link to this is in the description below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.